record, $165 million in guaranteed money. Figure so big I can pronounce it right. New England's owner, Robert Kraft, said he trusts Bill Belichick's ability to build a team, but he also pointed out the lack of production from draft picks caused the spending spree. Kraft said, "We were in a unique cap situation this year, and it allowed us to try to fix things we missed to a certain extent in the draft. So this was our best opportunity." Now, Bucky Brooks is back with me. That's my guy. But you know who's also my guy? Well, literally, he has to be. He's my brother, former NFL linebacker Sam Acho. Now, fellas, I got to remind the world, because I've been thinking about this. Incredible love stories, they can flame out so quickly. Y'all remember Tom Cruise jumping on Oprah's couch to profess his love for Katie Holmes? Oh, he was so madly in love. Well, that didn't work out. Y'all remember Jerry Krause? The Bulls had won 6 chips in 8 years. Three-peat. But then 1998, after that chip, he was like, yeah, you know what? I'm good. Huh? Y'all remember the Lakers? 3-peat? They were rolling. Then the late, great Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, that flamed out. But let me bring this close to home. The Eagles, Doug Peterson, first Super Bowl in Philadelphia. Eagles history. They built a statue of the man. He wrote a book called Fearless, published in 2018, forwarded by the owner of the Eagles. And just 2 years later, get him out of there. So, as I look at it, Bill Belichick, they've had an incredible love story, a 20-plus year run, him and Robert Kraft. But after that 7-9 season, after Robert Kraft's words, it's become apparent that there's a whole lot of pressure on Bill Belichick to get things done now. So, big bro, Sacho, I come to you first, sir. How much pressure is on Bill Belichick to win this year?
Zero, zilch, absolutely none. You got to understand Robert Kraft. And I know Robert Kraft. I've been in meetings with Robert Kraft, negotiating CBAs. I've been up and close with this dude. Robert Kraft loves Tom Brady. Who doesn't? He gave him 6 chips in 20 years. Robert Kraft also understands that when Tom Brady is gone, it's going to take some time to rebuild. So if you're not rebuilding sooner in the draft, I got to get it in my free agency moves. $165 million guaranteed. That's huge. But he's doing that to help Bill Belichick. He understands that it's going to be a while before the Patriots get back to their dominating performances.
Giving them a while. I'm not mad at that. I don't think the leash is as long as you believe, but I understand where you're coming from. Bucky Brooks, talk to me. How much pressure is on Bill Belichick to win in a win-now league?
I mean, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, if you're going to write checks totaling $300 million, yes, you have to win. You have to win right away because of all of the mistakes that they've made in the draft. Like, you like to draft, you want to build your team through the draft because it's economical. You now have the ability to kind of keep the cost down, the production high if you get it right. Well, because they've missed year after year after year in the draft, they've now had to overspend in free agency. And so Kraft wants to make sure that Bill Belichick can take this approach and get it right. Now, I would say that the Patriots have always been at their best when they're picking pros and adding pros to the lineups, and as opposed to adding college guys, because what Belichick, the GM, doesn't do right, Belichick, the head coach, he can make it right by correcting it. And so when I look at this team and I look at the veterans that they've added to the defense, well, now he can go back to playing those snowflake game plans that switch each and every week. When I look at offensively, 2 tight ends coming over, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, respectively, the wide receivers. Now they can go back to playing power football and stressing the defense with their 12 personnel package. So there's a lot of pressure on Bill Belichick, but I have a sneaking suspicion that he'll find a way to make this right.
Bucky, I hear what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from. My one disagreement, my one rebuttal, my one response would be this. Tom Brady. Yes, the Patriots have had a bad draft the last few years, but it hasn't mattered. Why? Because of Tom Brady. So now all of a sudden the talk is, well, we've got to figure out the draft and we've got to get it right. It's not about getting it right. You're trying to find ways to replace Tom Brady. That's why you spent $165 million guaranteed to try and replace one man, one player, Tom Brady. And so that's why the leash is a little bit longer than I think we all think, because Bill Belichick and both Robert Kraft understand that it's almost impossible. If you didn't understand before, you should understand now after watching that Super Bowl. It's almost impossible to replace Tom Brady. He's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, going to be the greatest quarterback in history. Tom Brady. It's not about the draft. It's about one man.
Okay, I get it. I don't understand exactly why you have such an accentuated pause between Tom and Brady. People need to start introducing me like that. Emmanuel Acho. I mean, it does hit a little harder when you give a little pregnant beat in between. But, Sam, let me enter a thought. 2014. Tom Brady's still relatively in his prime, relatively young, if we are cognizant of how long he would go on to play. And Bill Belichick says, you know what? I want to move on from Tom Brady. I want to draft Jimmy Garoppolo. Tom Brady responds, just by taking him to a Super Bowl a couple years later, winning another NFL MVP, and balls. Robert Kraft was like, hey, Belichick, strike one. Okay, 2020, that season ends. Rather, the 2019 season goes into the 20 year. And Tom Brady has to scurry off to the Buccaneers because Bill Belichick and that relationship is so contentious that you can't keep the greatest quarterback of all time on your roster. Strike two. Sam, I don't think that Bill Belichick's leash has gotten longer because of Tom Brady. I actually think that the leash is shorter because of how Bill Belichick mishandled Tom Brady and how Bill Belichick has really been mishandling a whole lot. Bucky Brooks, you agree with me on that one?
No, because here would be the thing. If I'm Bill Belichick, who would you hire that would be better? Who's the better coach out there that can come back?
If you're Robert Kraft. Yep.
Robert Kraft. Who can you bring back that's going to bring you 6 titles? And I would say this, if Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are arguing over the Tom Brady thing, hey, I had a succession plan in place with Jimmy Garoppolo. I was ready to move forward with Jimmy Garoppolo when Jimmy Garoppolo was in year 3. You made me trade Jimmy Garoppolo away. And we continued on with Tom Brady, and we didn't have a serviceable backup plan to go forward. And so, yes, I can be to blame for my missteps when it comes to the draft, but I attempted to take care of the most important position on the field by drafting 2 quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo and even Jacoby Brissett, to be in the building when we did decide to move on from Tom Brady. You nixed that.
Fellas, I'm going to leave you all with this little conspiracy theory, more of a hypothesis that I have. Robert Kraft, he understands Bill Belichick has won 6 chips. He gets that. Y'all get that. Sam, you said it. Bucky, you said it. I'm cognizant of it. But he also understands Tom Brady walks out the building, walks into another building with the head coach who's never gone to a Super Bowl as a head coach in Bruce Arians, and they instantly win a Super Bowl. So I'm not convinced that Robert Kraft isn't looking at Bill Belichick like, was it you or was it Tom? Because you, Bill Belichick, might be replaceable. We'll see. Coming up, LeBron and Steph Curry on the same